Welcome, I'm Nick Reveles, the Geisel Director of Education and Outreach for San Diego Opera, and welcome to this video podcast. My guest today is Tenor John Osborn, who's our Count Almaviva in the upcoming production of The Barber of Seville. John, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you here.
It's great to be here.
Before the season began, I'm reading the New York Times, and I come across a great review of you in Otello by Rossini. And I'm going like, who sings Otello? And it has, what, the 3 tenors in it? Or 4?
There are 3 major tenor parts in that opera. There are actually 6 tenor roles.
And you were singing Otello.
I was singing the title role of Otello.
And man, the review was stunning, John. It was really great.
Yeah, it's nice to see positive reviews for Rossini.
Yeah.
And especially since the Verdi seems to dominate all the headlines as far as Otello goes.
Right.
But this was quite an event in Zurich.
And it wasn't your first, you'd done it a couple of years previous to that?
This is actually, it was like the 3rd time I had done it.
Okay.
I had done it in concert in Lyon and Paris as part of l'Opéra de Lyon, the Grand Théâtre de Lyon, or whatever. In Lyon, and we took it to the Théâtre des Champs-Élysées in Paris as well. And that's where it had like radio broadcast and got a lot of exposure there.
So it took on a little life.
Yes. Well, the first time I did it was in Lausanne, Switzerland, and we did a full production. It was the Pesaro production, Giancarlo Monaco's production. And so I got my first experience with that. And it was, you know, for me it was kind of like, it was new Rossini for me. I had done Barber of Seville, La Cenerentola, L'Italiana several times. I'd even done Il Viaggio a Reims 3 times. But Otello for me was, you know, a little bit more of a stretch because normally, I mean, the actual role was written for a like we call it a baritenore. Kind of a baritone. And back in the day, 230 years ago or so, the type of singer that sang the role was really kind of a baritone that had kind of a falsettino, a falsetto,
extension of some
high extension that just wasn't really as full as we expect to hear the high notes today. So the fashion was different. So anyway, I took on this role. And the first thing I wanted to do was change all the low stuff, because there were quite a few like low A's, A flats, and B flats, and
we're talking
we're talking below the staff in the tenor range. So it's the very, very bottom of the tenor range. Really, it's kind of a more comfortable baritone range. Thus, it was written for that kind of voice. And there are many baritones today that could probably sing the role. But would never think of it. But also because you have to sing like a high D natural in a big duet with Iago. Both tenors, actually the one with Rodrigo, you both sing a high D.
Oh my Lord.
That's written, and in the same duet, you know, I sing like low A's.
So were you able to get those notes changed?
Well, I was able to rework it, and the first time around I kind of had to work it myself. I did study the role with actually I think, I'm not sure if he was born in San Diego, but Martin Wright, who was the chorus master in Amsterdam. I can't remember which opera I was doing in Amsterdam, but I studied the role with him.
He was born in Idaho.
He was born in Idaho, okay. But he has some roots here, I don't know.
He spent a lot of time there as chorus master,
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. I looked at your list of rep on your website, as well as opera base, to see what you've been singing in your career. And actually, practically your entire career is still up on opera base, which is sort of interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. You can access back to like 2000 or like 1998 or something like that.
Exactly. And see the breadth of repertoire that you've sung. Now, I suppose that we could say that you've sung enough Rossini to say that you're a Rossini specialist, but you've sung lots of Donizetti and 3 Bellini that I see on the list, and 3 Verdi roles, including the Duke. But you've also got Romeo there, Gounod, which is a pretty heavy role for someone that we would consider a Rossini specialist. So does it take a lot for you to switch, or do you feel that the voice is thick enough and heavy enough to take on a role like Romeo?
You know, Romeo, I took on the role for the first time a few years ago, and it was for the Salzburg Fest. And I knew that in order to be able to kind of beef my voice up enough for that, I kind of had to be careful with what I was singing before that. And I cannot even remember what I sang before that. I think it was an opera by Almaviva called Clary, another project that I did with Cecilia Bartoli, who was also in this very successful Otello that we just did in Zurich. Sorry, I don't want to mess with the mic. But I had the rehearsal period. It actually, I was double cast with Rolando Villason.
Oh, right.
So Rolando was doing, I think, Don Carlo at Covent Garden or somewhere, I think, at the same time, so he wasn't there the first week. So I had the first week to kind of really, you know, I'd never done the role before, so kind of just to really learn it and to kind of get it in my body. And then after that, I really kind of sat around for a couple weeks. So I really had to work on it every day to make it comfortable for myself. And, you know, I remember the first musical rehearsal with Maestro Nézet-Séguin. He's a French-Canadian conductor, Yannick. And he was so wonderful to work with because as soon as I started singing the musical rehearsal, he was like, this is really something different. In today's world, I should say.
Yeah.
You know, there's a huge tradition of singing even a lot of the French Romantic opera, but this huge tradition that came out of the 40s, 50s, and 60s, to where you had all these big heroic tenors.
Giving it to the big...
Just really...
dramatic sound,
Really kind of blowing everything out of the water. And kind of, I don't mean to say it, but I'm going to, kind of losing a sense for what real French style was. And so working with Yannick, it was interesting and exciting to find this French lilt. To find these wonderful, beautiful, lighter colors that I can only say that from all of my bel canto background and Mozart background allowed me, or, you know, gave me the abilities or trained me for that.
What have been the big challenges with the role of Almaviva for you? Or has it been a relatively easy role to sing all these years because you've been doing it?
I did my first one, I think, in the spring of 1998. Vancouver Opera. I've been trying to count how many times I've actually done the role. Like how many, not how many performances. I can't, I need to really, I'm going to have to really do some research to find out how many performances. I think somewhere near 100 performances and around 20 some different projects, different productions.
So, but in the midst of all that, because that's a lot of singing.
It's really a long role.
It is.
It really is. I mean,
there's lots of recitative where you're down here in middle voice or you're in lower voice, and then you have to pop up and sing, you know, these very
I tell you, it's gotten to a point now where I don't really think of how the recit affects the way I sing it. I think so much because it's so difficult to come out and to sell the serenade. You know, the Ecco ridente in cielo. I mean, I think because, you know, it's like he's reciting a poem, kind of. And it's not Romeo and Juliet. Wherefore, you know, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo. It's not great literature like that. So you start out, and everybody's waiting for Largo al factotum. You know, everybody's waiting for that because it's such an amazing showpiece. But Ecco ridente in cielo, I mean, it really calls for an agility and an elegance and a sense of style that not everybody really appreciates, I would have to say. I think that a lot of the Rossini purists in the world, luckily, I mean, I do a lot of Rossini even in Italy. So to have Italians, you know, appreciate, you know, what I can bring to it is really encouraging.
Sure.
I like to bring a fuller, more heroic voice to it. I like to sing with a little more voice instead of kind of coming off the voice and singing. I kind of say wussy in a little bit. I don't like to sing ha 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 ha. You know, I like to sing with the voice and have still a line, but still sing all that fioritura, all those fast notes. And I think that's one of the great challenges, is being agile enough to sing this vocal line, this beautiful line that I want to try to maintain, and still, still the Tourette's with my voice, you know. I call it, sometimes it turns my throat to hamburger, I say. It kind of turns to, I call it vocal hamburger. And I think that's one of the challenges, is kind of the longevity of the role. Then you have ensemble after ensemble, and they're long ensembles that then repeat. And, you know, he's kind of really the straight guy. He comes out and it's just, I'm the Count and I need to sing for her. Isn't it great? And then, oh, it didn't work.
It's interesting to me that, although, as you say, the role starts off not slowly, but as if Rossini is easing the tenor into the show. But in actuality, by the time the connection with Figaro starts, and certainly by the second scene, it's a very funny role. I mean, I've seen Almavivas just have a ball up there on stage.
And I think that that's why I've been doing this role my entire career, really. Yeah. I mean, since '98, here we are in 2012. It was exactly, you know, 14 years ago. It was April. So that's been the gist of my career. I mean, besides the 3 years that I was in the Met program, because that was really kind of starting out my career. I really didn't do a whole lot. I didn't do many main roles while I was in the program. So it was only the summer programs like Wolf Trap and Glimmerglass where I was able to do roles. And anyway, but I've really been doing the Barber of Seville my whole career, and I love playing the drunken soldier.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it should be Count Almaviva playing the drunk soldier, but it is like John Osborn playing the drunken soldier, having a blast on stage, playing around with Figaro, teasing Bartolo, kind of pushing his buttons, flirting with Rosina. I mean, it's such a delightful piece that just keeps going and keeps going. He turns into this eccentric character, Don Alonso, and I kind of put my own interesting, unique vocal twist on my Don Alonso, and I just have such a ball.
Well, we're all looking to this entire cast having a ball on stage, because it is a fabulous cast. I can't tell my audience enough what an exciting cast it is, vocally, personally, and in terms of the comedic energy. I think it's going to be a really, really successful production. John, thanks so much for coming in. I appreciate it.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Thanks, Nick.
Okay.